the Zika case,
We've been
talking about
mosquito.
that. The first case of a sexually transmitted Zika virus was in Ontario, Canada.
That's like right over here.
Yeah, so I thought that we needed to bring
That's
that
just right
forward
there.
because again they're bringing the Zika thing up, and now they're saying it's sexually transmitted, and before they said it wasn't. So before they said it was
So don't have sex with
mosquitoes.
people in Canada. That's
No,
what
I would say don't have sex with mosquito because it says it's
that
by
would
mosquitoes.
hurt. That would really hurt.
How would you know?
Because I can't tell you.
Anyway, and then I also talked about Target last time allowing gender, anybody can use their restrooms however you feel led.
Mm-hmm.
So now the American Family Association is launched a boycott. They have 700,000 signatures
To not
go to Target.
Yeah.
But American
But 70
Family
million are going.
Yeah.
So
American Family Association says that Target's statement says this means a man can simply say he feels like a woman today and enter the woman's restroom. So,
well, Caitlyn Jenner
Yeah.
peed in the Trump Towers
women's room?
Yes,
Yeah,
and filmed it.
yeah, and he's still got all his parts, right?
Yeah,
He,
I
she.
wonder, did she squat or
stand.
use? Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Well, maybe we can look that up. And along those same lines, we have an ex-senator, U.S. Senator Harris Wofford,
Yes. Oh my gosh.
has announced he will be marrying a man.
Oh my gosh.
50 years his
He's
junior.
90.
He's 90.
And guy's 40.
Yeah, that's correct. And he said that this is a former advisor to President John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King.
What happened to them?
He served as a senator from Pennsylvania for 4 years. He was married for 48 years, and the couple had 3 children.
He just decided he's gay now after 90 freaking years.
And the kids must be thrilled.
Yeah, his children must be so happy.
He said
Yeah, this 40-year-old punk's going to get our inheritance.
Yeah.
Because, daddy is senile.
Right. So anyway, I thought that was a very odd story.
You think?
I think.
Yeah, I think.
And then we go into back to North Carolina.
Do we have to go back?
We have to. Because I thought was really good. This was, again, a commentator who wrote this, so you'll have to look up the link for the details. But he said why the North Carolina bathroom bill debate is center stage. He said the bathroom debate is really a debate about the fundamental way we Americans define any truth. And this is what somebody on my blog had actually written, because we had quite a discussion on the membership side about this issue.
Did you?
We did. And somebody was saying, everybody has just kind of done what they needed to do. For example, there'd probably been transgenders before in women's bathrooms, but we didn't make a deal of it.
Well, nobody knew.
Right. And so now everybody has to know, and now we have to make a deal, and now we have to legislate it. And vice versa. Like I said, I had taken our young sons when they were young to the men's bathroom if I needed to. If they needed to use the bathroom and nobody was in there, people did what they needed to do without a law. Now we have this law. So this person goes on to say that whether or not one believes gender reassignment therapy or surgery is wise, the cultural acceptance of biological/genetic females as male and vice versa is tied to whether our species is willing to abandon genetics and biology as fact in favor of considering a person's desired self-image to be a fact. So if, for example, I identify, it is, the whole thing's confusing. So it gives examples. If I say I'm a black person, remember the woman who claimed she was black and she wore her hair and then she was head
she said being black was a choice.
That's right. So he says, what if I tattoo myself black from head to foot?
Right.
So should culture accept him as a black man? And then what if he applies to law school as an African American? Should he be given any preference that is allowed to a minority applicant? Then he says, what if his being I'm not 54 years old, but I'm 75 years old. So should I be entitled to receive Medicare? And then he said he's actually spoken to attorneys who have said because of this transgender issue, that yes, he could make the argument that he ought to be eligible for Medicare simply because of how he feels.
God, I should be ready for my mummification.
And then he says, what if a 25-year-old man decides that he's as mature as a 13-year-old? So should he be allowed to be sexually involved with a 13-year-old because he identifies as a 13-year-old? And remember, I had reported on that story. Remember that woman who identified it as a baby?
What about that man that decided he was a little girl?
Yeah, that's when we talked about that too.
Yeah.
And he was adopted by people who let him live.
Sick people.
And
you're all sick.
And play with their
That's
children.
why the aliens are taking over people, because you're all sick.
So, They're saying basically that our idea as a culture then is actually being.
The whole point is to make people not know who or what they
Yes.
are, and nobody is anything. You just nothing.
Exactly.
And everything at the same time.
And then he says, what if I were a male member of ISIS, jailed for terrorist acts, but then insisted while incarcerated that I am a 15-year-old female American citizen who has not changed my opinion, who not only changed his opinions, but no longer in any way the person who is convicted of terrorism, should he be released?
Hence, I have told everyone I am the emperor of the universe. And it's a valid thing.
Okay, and then he says we are not simply debating who will use which bathrooms, and I concur. There's a lot of things going on here about our society, things that we just did. We didn't legislate, we just did what we needed to do. But once this legislation comes in and the laws are made, it's going to be a real challenge. So, and then this, I thought you would be interested to know.
What?
There's a term that, I studied this stuff a lot, that I have not heard of before.
What?
This is called cisgender. Cisgender.
What's that?
CIS gender.
I never heard of that.
This is a person, well, you're going to need this one.
Uh-oh.
Because this is a person who identifies with the sex they were assigned at birth.
Duh.
Now we have to define it.
Wait, so like if you're born a boy and you're a boy, that makes you a cisgender?
But listen to me. If they assign this to you at birth, what if, and we wrote about this in our True Reality of Sexuality, what about like the people who are born intersex, which they could not tell, even with a
Hermaphrodite.
No, this is different. Remember your own book and the things we wrote.
My own book.
Okay, the True Reality of Sexuality, we wrote in there that even with using the chromosomes, they could not decide if it was male or female. They most likely turned them into
Female.
And so the intersex society, and this is long before the transgender debate happened, so go back and read our book.
I remember.
Okay, so this is the sex they were assigned at birth. So the wording is careful. Not the way you were born, but what you were assigned. So that's cisgender. So at this point...
But what does the CIS mean?
I don't know, but at this point you and I are both cisgender.
That means we should be married?
That means
We're the same gender?
we're the sex we were assigned at birth. So you were assigned a male, I was assigned a female. It doesn't say that's the way you were born.
I assigned a nothing, okay?
Yeah, but it doesn't say that you were a male or I was a female. It just said that we were assigned. So I think, again, because this is going to come into play at some point. This is why they're using the verbiage and this definition.
It's just so, it's
Yes.
so ridiculous.
Yes.
This is why the world is effed up.
Yeah, and then we have another very important drama going
What?
on. Kelly Ripa and Micah Strand. The reason I brought this
Who
thing
cares?
up is because it is a show.
Who cares, really?
It's black and white, and it is male and female. It's a show. So all this stuff you've been reading about...
Ebony and ivory.
It's a show. So remember that. So I'm not even going to go into it. It's all over there. But it's a distraction for you.
Yes.
And then I had briefly mentioned this pedophile symbols.
Oh, yes.
And this was out again because it's the first time I had heard of it, but they brought it out again. So in my opinion, they're training you to...
They're training me.
Training the people, you out there watching this,
Okay.
to identify with archetypes. We've also talked about logos
Yes,
a
but
lot.
what kind?
Well, they're talking about a blue spiral-shaped triangle surrounded by a larger triangle represents a pedophile who's attracted to boys. A small heart surrounded by a larger heart, symbolizing a pedophile and a minor girl. And then a butterfly represents non-preferential gender child abusers.
A cisgender abuser?
I don't know. But my overall
What about
point,
those who identify as transgender hedgehogs?
now that would be good. We should get an archetype for that. Okay, then this was interesting. This, you may have heard of this one near San Jose.
Yes.
This was a Muslim couple.
Yes, it was.
But their names, Golem Rabbi
Can't
and
make that up.
Shamima Rabbi. Now Golem, we all know, is a clay
They're from
formed.
Bangladesh.
Yeah, a clay formed as something a person formed from clay that the breath of life supposedly is blown into them by a rabbi. So this
That's right.
Golem Rabbi was dead. Now, I thought that was very odd, and there was a message written on the floor, sorry, my first kill was clumsy.
Yeah,
Now,
but that could have been a distraction.
a lot of it. But the issue is, again, this upset the Muslim community, and then it turned out that one of their sons had actually committed the murder because he had an issue with his gender or something.
Yes, he didn't like the way he's...
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
It's confusing, but you can read the link, but the names were important. Golem Rabbi, Shamima Rabbi. And then, now I'm also reporting the next couple of stories because the suicide rate in the U.S. is climbing and is getting to ridiculous proportions. If people have an issue, they don't settle them, they just go kill each other. I talked about the Boner, Senator Bonin, the lady on our block, Denise Bone, who was killed. Now this is a man, again, a lot of these I think are set up as suicide. So this man, this was a Vodafone rep. They claim he jumped to his death from a restaurant, leaving the note saying, "I've cracked up." Mike Halligan, 29, there's another 11 for you, 2 plus 9. He fell 80 feet, which is an 8. January 17, which is an 8. He lived in Stuttgart. He went to London, ate at this restaurant, and then fell from the top. And they claim
he was from Dublin.
He lived in Dublin, yes. Yeah. From Dublin, yes. Anyway, they claim that he wrote, "I'm bored of life. The future possibilities disinterest me. It's nobody's fault. Nothing could have been done to change this. I have cracked."
But this part is interesting.
Yeah, he was the 6th person to die from the Coq d'Argent. Now, d'argent is silver in French.
Yes, it is.
And that like a
frog.
rooster?
Well.
C-O-Q.
Yeah.
Coq, like coq de vin, chicken. Anyway, so a chicken of silver, I guess. I don't know. That would be my interpretation. Anyway, it said there were no drugs or alcohol.
Don't eat at that restaurant.
No drugs or
People
alcohol.
kill themselves after that.
In his blood. So again, but they're calling this suicide.
Programming overload.
Or maybe somebody pushed him. Then on April 13th, a 31-year-old, that's mirror program 1331. I've seen a lot of that going on too.
Right.
2552. So watch those numbers. The mirror programming. This woman, Nicole Mittendorf, we talked about it. She was a Virginia firefighter. They claim she was the victim of cyberbullying, but I looked at her picture. She does not remind me of somebody who would commit
She was
suicide
a beautiful woman.
Over something like this.
Blonde, beautiful woman.
Yeah. So I mentioned that, and then again, remember the boner and the bone on our street. Now here's in Wisconsin. Justin Bone, B-O-H-N, 36, shot his young children himself.
Now that is like unbelievable. It's the same name.
Yes. And he also shot his children, unfortunately. Son 3 and 5. His 31-year-old wife was not around at the time. So suicides are really...
Murder suicides,
families, everything. So you must do your deprogramming work. You need to be mindful of your mind pattern. You need to stay safe.
No.
Safe.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So anyway, the number of suicides in the U.S. is continuing to climb. And it says the increase is broad-based, with the largest increases among American Indians and Alaskan Natives. And then interestingly, it says that suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. So I thought that was pretty significant. And of course, back to the sex stories. Alabama bill demands that teachers now take classes on how not to have sex with their students. It says in the month since the bill was introduced, at least...
Are you kidding me?
At least one Alabama school worker was either arrested or convicted for having sex with a student each week.
Oh my gosh. And
Alabama has the highest rate of teacher-student relations in the country. But get this, that requires educators...
And that's the Bible Belt.
...to sit through an hour-long class annually. Like, that's going to make a difference, right? It says more than half of the teacher-student sex romps started through social media.
You know why? Because in Alabama they get left back so much. The students are like 35,
I guess.
so like they're the same age as the teacher.
And again, I'm going to say who's...
And they all have no teeth.
I have some plastic surgeon stories, and I'm going to say who are the plastic surgeons who are doing this. They said 400 girls, 18 or under, had a labiaplasty last year.
Why?
That is because to have their labia trimmed, which to me sounds horribly painful. It says sometimes to relieve discomfort or risk of infection, but most often because they're unhappy with the way it looks. You know, I'm really, really sorry, but I don't... You know, who are the stupid plastic surgeons who are doing this?
Who are the stupid parents?
All of it.
That are allowing that.
All of it. They're saying that now because there's so much sex stuff shown that the young girls are now unhappy with the way that their personal parts look, so they're chopping them up. It's like, and then they said...
They need to talk to Caitlyn Jenner.
Comedian Nikki Glasser, who I've never heard of, but she debated about labiaplasty as a youth. I really doubt that. I think it's just because they want to put this out here, make you think something is not right. And it says,
people cut it out.
A recent study showed many British women were worried their genitals weren't normal per the Huffington Post.
British people should be worried about their teeth, not their labias, okay? Look in the mirror, people, at your teeth, not below.
So, and then now there's a guy, a plastic surgeon, who's developing an InstaBreast, which is a lunchtime lift. They're calling them vacation breasts, so you could try it out. And he's going to inject you with
Who is this person?
a plastic surgeon, Norman
And
Rowe.
where is this?
I don't have that at the moment, but I might
Oh,
have
my.
it somewhere. Oh, New York City doctor.
Uh-huh.
He says this is going to be the next thing.
It's called
Vacation.
these are my vacation breasts.
Yeah, well, don't worry. They're going to do it for men, too.
Oh, good, because I need some.
For your pecs and everything else. For your
They
back.
would, no, you know,
Back.
they're going to just use mine as a model.
Your pec.
At both of them.
Anyway.
Woo! Janet said a bad word.
Anyway, he says it's a saline solution with an additive.
Oh, what's the vodka, I hope.
Well, but the point is, this is
I
ridiculous.
hope. I'd like some vodka implants, please.
So he's in touch with the FDA, anticipates the procedure to be in the market by 2016. Now, InstaBreast, I told you that. So you can see what it's like before you do the real thing.
Oh my God, what are the aliens thinking, honestly?
Well, speaking of which, this was interesting to me because scientists said that now they're witnessing a flash of light during conception. They said that they can see an explosion of spark form when sperm meets egg, and they have done that with animals. Now they've done that with humans.
Well, that makes sense to me, actually.
It makes sense to me too. But what's interesting, of course, they don't want to use it for regular reasons. They want it for nefarious reasons, in my opinion, for in vitro fertilization.
Oh, because then you can see the flash. You can't see when it's inside.
Right, and they said that the eggs that burn brighter than others may indicate they're more likely to develop into a healthy fetus.
Mine looked like a nuclear explosion when I was created.
Anyway, there's a new moon discovered around the dwarf planet Maki Maki.
Maki Maki. You want Maki Maki? Call $4.
It's the second brightest icy dwarf planet after Pluto.
Dwarf planet? All those little tiny people walking around.
In
Maki
the
Maki.
Kuiper Belt.
Of course it is. It's
Yeah,
my piece.
So I thought that was interesting. Maki Maki is named for the creation deity of the Rapa Nui people of Easter
I
Island.
was there.
I know.
I didn't say Maki Maki.
Okay, and then I know you wanted to know that London now has its first nude restaurant.
Yay! I'm going to be there in August.
No, well, it opens in June.
Yeah, perfect. I won't bring my clothes.
The menu is devoid of artificial colors. There's no electric lights or smartphones permitted in the candlelit dining area.
Ooh.
Natural-looking wooden furniture.
That might hurt if the candle falls over.
Now, listen to this. Do you believe this? They claim they have a waiting list already of over 25,000 people.
It's London. I do believe that.
It's a Pangea-themed restaurant. What's Pangea mean?
That's the original continent that broke up into all the other continents, supposedly.
It says, upon arrival, patrons can be directed, or will be directed to disrobe in a changing room where they can store everything in a locker, and then to avoid contaminating the chairs, they sit on a robe. Diners.
Whose robe?
Well, they don't say.
Do they give it to the next person?
It says to avoid food sanitation issues backstage, the kitchen staff are permitted to cover up while they prepare food, but waiters will have minimal covering.
So that even the staff is naked.
Yes. So anyway.
What's the name of this place?
It's called Bunyadi.
And while you're waiting for your food, you can get an InstaBreast.
And photography is strictly prohibited, so they can't take a picture of their food, I guess.
Oh, but we know what's going to happen, don't we?
And then, just in case this is referring to your story, May 7 is actually the 12th annual World Naked Gardening Day.
I just love it. I don't know where you get these stories, but I really like them.
I don't know either. It says when you're out there with a gentle breeze on you, every last hair on your body feels it. You feel, I don't want to garden naked. It's going to hurt.
Especially when it's so cold outside.
Well, and it's going to hurt. I mean, you've got to carry things, and you've
What
got
if there's
sticks
what if there's
and
like a
stones.
bee?
And yes.
You know?
I mean, this is just stupid.
Or a Zika mosquito.
We can have sex with it, I guess.
Or a hedgehog that's transgender.
Yeah. Anyway, and then Denmark.
And tries to crawl up your
hedgehog.
Yes.
Denmark is considering a tax on beef. Because.
Well, that's a sex story too.
Because they claim that it's affecting climate change.
Denmark said that?
That they have a council that advises their government.
Yes.
And they said the Danes have an ethical obligation to fight climate change.
This is why the Vikings are dead.
So they're going to call it a climate tax on red meat. So apparently the UN Food and Agriculture Organization has determined that 18% of all greenhouse gas emissions come from animal agriculture, and cattle contributes 10%.
Oh, please.
This is to get you not to eat meat, obviously.
Oh, come on, Denmark, seriously.
So it says that beef requires 28 times more land and 11 times more water. Now, you can raise
You were a farmer.
You can raise beef where you cannot raise pork and chickens. I will tell you that right now.
Why?
Because of the land. You raise beef like out in the desert and out.
But they have to eat stuff.
Yeah, but they eat stuff that pigs and chickens won't eat.
No?
So it's actually an efficient use, an effective use of the land. So anyway, it says Danes are ethically obligated to change their eating habits, but they won't lower their red meat consumption just because it's the right thing to do.
Well, good for you, Denmark.
Now, in the meantime, Sweden is spending millions of their kroner to tell citizens to eat insect meat to end climate change.
Sweden? What the heck's going on in Scandinavia?
There's a government...
I leave for 10 minutes and this is what you do.
A government agency called Vinova. And it says green activists and the United Nations, again, are behind political initiatives such as Meat-Free Mondays, which is a gateway to full vegetarianism, which I believe. They're claiming this Vinova is awarding 500,000 kroner each to 15 different projects across the country tasked with creating an edible prototype of a new food. So they want good and healthy products from mealworms, which are fed on vegetable food scraps.
Listen to me. Swedish people aren't going to do this.
Well, that's what they're claiming.
They are not going to do this.
They're going to offer enticing offerings, not involving insects, but do include climate fungal protein.
Oh, lovely.
Yum. A healthy vegetarian barbecue made from byproducts and fibrous materials, whatever that means. Blue cheese-like product made from beans. And then they're going to give an extra 2 million kroner for when they select the best product of all of these things. So isn't that disgusting?
Yes.
And then apparently there's a new book out called Technocracy Rising, the Trojan Horse of Global Transformation. And the author says the attack on meat is global, like many of the ideas that get made into policies by the White House, Congress, state legislatures. They originate at the United Nations and its agenda for sustainability. They've tried to pull this off in various ways in several states, and people have rejected it, but they keep trying. They're passionate about the cow methane.
That's not what it says.
I know. It's about 1,200 pages thick, and that is the working manual for the UN Agenda 21.
So look how much wood they've wasted by making this ridiculous 1,200-page book.
They tell you in this book what is sustainable, what is not sustainable. The list of things that are not sustainable include cattle, dams, roads, golf courses, and all kinds of things.
So we should all live in a closet, be androgynous, have hedgehogs up our parts, and garden naked.
Well, but I've been telling you that they want you to get your
bugs.
food. Yes, they want you to get your food from the government. And I also think they're preparing people to be, and I told you about the tiny homes, I think that's precursor to sending people out in space. And I think they're going to feed them this kind of stuff. So I think it's all disgusting.
People, don't do it.
No. And
listen to Daddy.
Now I've also been telling you about all kinds of strange animals they're bringing out of the sea. Now they have something in China, off the east coast of China.
They probably ate it.
People they might have called a crocodile and a dolphin, and the country are now debating on that.
It's a daffodil.
And now listen, back to the Scandinavian countries and Norway. This is what they did. They beheaded a zebra, and then they put it out for the tigers to eat.
Why?
They claimed they had too many.
There's too many Norwegians is what the problem is.
The beheading thing continues to be an ongoing thing, and the masks, over people.
Didn't Norway do something stupid like that once before?
I don't know, but apparently they didn't warn anybody, and people brought their kids to the zoo.
Okay, so now we have ridiculous things in Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. Hello, what's going on with you up there?
So, and the thing is what did they do with the head? They don't talk about what they did with the zebra head. And
they probably wore it at a party.
The zoo's veterinarian defended the decision, saying we must not avoid the fact that predators eat other animals, and they were simply trying to give their large predators a more natural diet. He said with a whole animal to eat, they must spend time tearing it apart with their claws and teeth. It stimulates natural behavior, but what happened to the head?
Okay, I think they need to do that to the people who are taking care of the zebra.
It doesn't make sense. And they didn't tell people. And people brought their kids, and here's this headless zebra. So they're imprinting people with something.
Norwegian children had to witness.
And black, white, and red. Those are all programming colors.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
That's IS programming.
Yes, so something big's going to happen in Norway, in my opinion.
No,
And then,
it's a boring country anyway.
this is kind of my last story, which I'm sure you're excited about.
Oh,
But this is about this is
wait.
all tied into this meat eating stuff. This is about why it's impossible for people to be a vegetarian. It's a new book
Well.
out, and I don't really think it needs a book. But
No.
the point is it's saying that plants acquire their nutrients from the soil, and the soil is composed of not only decayed plant but also animal remains.
yes.
So
There's no such thing
therefore-
as vegetarian anything.
Right, that's what this book is saying, because the plants eat from the soil.
Yes.
And they're not picky.
Correct.
They just take their minerals.
And there's dead bugs and animals, and it
Yes.
gets pulled up into the plant, and then you eat it.
That's right. And so it says many vegetarians cite the sentience of animals, that's why they don't eat from them. Now they claim that the work of these plant scientists, that plants share our 5 senses, plus have 20 more senses.
Yes, when did I say that?
They have
30 years ago?
They have a hormonal information processing system that's
Homologous.
homologous to animals' neural network. They exhibit clear signs of self-awareness and intentionality. They even learn and teach. It says that vegetarianism and veganism is not eco-friendly.
It's not.
It says, look no further than your carbon footprint of your morning coffee and how much water is required to produce the almonds you enjoy as an afternoon snack. Plants consume in as much as they produce, and they're not particular about where they get their minerals. It says rich black soil is fertile because it's chock full of composted remains of the dead.
Of living things.
That's right.
Animals.
And it says it's not uncommon for indigenous peoples to identify veneration of their ancestors and of their ancestral land with the celebration of the life-giving character of the earth. It is called the cycle of life and death for a reason.
And have you seen what vegans look like?
Oh.
I mean,
And even
ugly
vegetarians,
for
I'm sorry.
days.
And-
Yeah, ugly, fugly people.
Yeah. Well,
And you know why I'm saying this? I'm
Why?
just going to say,
be mindful of your words, please.
I'm going to be mindful, because someone who was a vegetarian said I looked like a pirate. And I was very hurt.
Yeah, no. I think he looks like a pirate. So you can
And
a gangster.
others said I looked like a mafia gangster
Or a biker.
or biker.
Mm.
Just because I have earrings and tattoos and
Short sleeves and muscles.
chains
And a
on
beard.
chains on various parts of
And
my
he walks
body.
around nude except for with his little mankini.
Well, because I like the way the breeze feels on my body.
Yeah, and gardens outside our front house, with
Yeah.
the sticks and stuff poking him all
What do you
over
mean
the
by
place.
sticks?
The sticks poking him
What are you
all over the
talking
place.
about?
Well, you were
I told
talking
not to
about
discuss that
your-
with people.
You were talking about your pecs. So, with that said, we have to tell them all the exciting things we have planned.
Yes, and something that might be you won't be mad at me for saying, but
I
will
know what you're
anyway.
going to say, but I don't know what you're going to do it anyway.
Well, that's right.
So anyway, in May.
You know what? Because I'm not mind controlled by you.
In May, I'm your handler, dear. Ask the public; they'll tell you.
I have also been called a scorpion commander
Yeah.
who has controlled people like a puppet. Yes,
Yeah.
I have been
Well,
called
that's
that.
true.
Yeah, well, that is true, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so in May you're going to be in Iceland and Holland.
Yes, and at the very end, I'll be in Poland.
Okay, and then in June,
June, I'll be in Germ,
and
and
you're going to be in Poland.
and Poland again.
Okay. And I am taking my group to the Cotian Alps in Italy, where we are going to have clear air, and we're going to be in PowerPoints, and we're going to have
catch
clean
hedgehogs.
water.
And transgender hedgehogs.
Yes, so if you want to go, this is like we're putting out the last calls. You've got like maybe about 10 days to make up your mind, and like you're done. So if you're coming on this trip with me, you've got to let me know. A lot of you have told me for years you wanted to go on this trip, so where are you? Please sign up, or you're going to have to put your
Yeah,
money
or
where
you're
your
out.
mouth is. Or, that's right, because I'm not doing
We
this
might
trip
as well
again.
become a vegan.
Yeah, I'm not doing this trip again. You don't come now, you aren't going.
That's right. You
And
tell
then, what's this?
July,
Yeah,
there's a couple of days with SS.
still open?
I don't know, is there?
They're going
Because
to be.
I do have days with SS that will be done that month.
Yes, but I don't know if you have any more openings. So if you're interested.
Well, I do have an opening, but I can't show you.
Well, thank God. Anyway,
Yes, and then in August, I forgot to write it, but I'm supposed to go to Chile.
you said that last week, and I
Yeah.
said I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
about
gonna
that
tell you everything.
You should.
So Chile, and
Because
then,
I'm your handler.
yes, and then to UK and Germany.
And then in September is when we have our week-long class right here in St. Joseph, Michigan, September Spectacular. And we will both be teaching that. Now's the time again to sign up for that. Some people want payment plans. They need to do it. It's beautiful that time of year, and we're going to be taking
Oh,
you.
I forgot like one of the
What?
major stories. Oh, I'm so sorry, people. Before you go on to the rest,
Yes.
was it last night that Obama was speaking at the White House Correspondent Dinner, which they do every year, and in the dinner, he said that this was his last one because he's leaving office, and maybe it was the last correspondent dinner ever. And then he said, the end of the Republic looks so beautiful, or never looked better. So why did he say that? End of the Republic, last correspondent dinner, something to look at. Sorry, I forgot all about that one.
Well, that's pretty darn important.
Yeah, it
that
was.
should have been like your lead story, not oatmeal.
Oh, excuse me, Miss
Which
Fancy
let off
Director
with
Producer.
oatmeal, I'm thinking, why are you leading out with oatmeal?
I don't have naked sex stories like you do.
But at
every
least
week.
I didn't lead out with that. See, I led out
Okay,
with
hello,
Obama.
we're not done.
See, Obama.
Okay, back to this,
And then
back to this.
on into the presidential candidates. Not oatmeal. I'm sorry. That one was like lame.
Oh, I'm sorry, Barbara Walters, that I didn't have everything the way
I
you
am
wanted
your
it.
handler, and you're supposed to tell me everything first. If you could please remember that. So, September, week-long class. September Spectacular, sign up now. My June trip, sign up now or you're out. October.
Well, October, I was invited to participate, actually expansions, to participate with a Polish international global conference, which will be done every year, and we have been asked to help put this on.
What's it going to be about?
In Warsaw. It will be about alternative news, UFOs, what's coming, blah, 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 everything that we do.
It is.
Yes, and more on that as we get
All right,
closer.
now you can get to the next month, which is what you don't want me to talk
Well,
about.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but as you know, November is my birthday month.
Not that he's mentioned that.
As you know, last year I was horribly stuck in Indonesia for my birthday. And then,
November 5, in
yeah,
case he hasn't
Guy
told
Fawkes
you.
Day. And then after that trauma, I was sent, horrifyingly to Pakistan.
And then?
And then to Oman and Qatar, so hello. So I had a really, really bad birthday week. Right.
I'm sorry.
And so this year,
Sometimes I can't just stop him.
and so this year, I want to do something special for my birthday. So I'm going to ask you, viewers, who wants to attend my birthday party?
Yeah, but I thought you were going to tell him where you want to go.
Can I? I don't want to get beaten afterwards. Am I allowed to discuss it?
You're discussing it.
Well, my personal choice.
Which I think is silly.
Not about you, okay?
It's
my
his
birthday.
60th birthday.
Yes, I want you to just tell them how
The end of a
pirate,
series of
the
cycles.
pirate gangster is going to be 60 freaking years old. And
Although you feel like you're a 12-year-old.
well, I was going to say 7, but yes, I'm more
Child.
mature at 12. I'm almost in puberty.
Yeah. 12-year-old child.
Yeah, and so I want to have it at Vladivostok in eastern Siberia, which is a big up-and-coming place. Look it up. It's visa-free for 8 days, starting July 1st.
And personally, I would like to hear your opinion of where you would like to go to have a birthday party with Stewart, because
Why
I'm
don't you
not
tell
sure.
them where you want me to go?
Well, I like the idea of going to Canada.
To Canada.
To the Clear Health
That sounds
Inn
exciting,
and have a spa day or a spa weekend.
Yes, because my very good friend, I can't mention his name without his permission,
All right.
but
it
he
is the Clear
owns, he's a
Health Inn.
surgeon, and it's the Clear Health Inn in Regina, Saskatchewan, and based on my work and my ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And
So I thought it would be fun to go up there for a few days. Everybody could have a spa weekend, like for 3 or 4 days, and we could have a big birthday party for him up there, which to me sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah, we could maple syrup and Canadian bacon.
No, we're going to be going through and doing he has a hyperbaric chamber, he has color
Where we
therapy
could be having
room.
vodka, caviar.
What else does he have up there?
He
He has cold sculpture.
Yes.
Cold sculpture lasering.
Yes,
cold
right.
laser
Which
sculpture.
I don't need. I don't need that, but I might demonstrate it.
Yeah, but anyway, he's got a lot of very fascinating clear health.
So anyway,
so Canada.
which one would you prefer?
Canada. Let us know. Anything else?
Or they could just send gifts.
January 2017.
I can't think that far ahead.
We've already felt that. That's when we are going to be having our next Oversoul and Hyperspace extravaganza.
yeah, we do.
Hyperspace Oversoul extravaganza. So you might want to prepare for that with our September Spectacular. And like I said, you want the June trip, you got to sign up now or you're done. Okay?
Yeah, and if you do come in September, you know, you could bring early birthday presents.
You could.
If you can't make the party, that is, you know. So, I guess that's it for now. It was a long one. And so was the newscast. So we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye.